Have you ever wished a friend a happy birthday and they just kind of shrug and say, thanks, but it's really just another day? It can be a little confusing, right? Well, today we're going to dive into the fascinating psychology behind why some people treat their own birthday like it's no big deal.
We all know someone like this. It could be a friend, a coworker, maybe even your own brother or sister. Their big day rolls around and instead of cake and balloons, you get, well, basically nothing. It really makes you wonder, what is going on under the surface? The first clue is pretty obvious. You check your calendar, and there's just nothing there. No party invitation, no mention of a dinner, not even a casual get-together. It's just a blank space where a celebration should be. And it's more than just a lack of plans. There is a total absence of excitement. They're not going to bring it up, and if you do, you might get a quick, polite nod before they change the subject. For them, it is literally just another Tuesday. Now, our first instinct is to jump to conclusions, isn't it? We might think, wow, they're being ungrateful, or maybe that they're just a bit of a party pooper. But the real reasons, they are so much more complex and, honestly, way more fascinating than that. So the first big reason is something we can think of as a fortress of self-worth. And this fortress is built on a really powerful psychological foundation: emotional self-reliance. So what in the world is emotional self-reliance? Okay, think of it like this. You have your own internal power source for your self-esteem. You don't need to plug into other people's compliments or applause to feel good. You generate that feeling all by yourself, from the inside out. And this really shows how it works in practice. For someone who is deeply self-reliant, their sense of worth isn't a battery that needs to be recharged once a year with birthday wishes and cake. It's a constant, stable, internal state. They already feel valued, so they don't need an audience to confirm it for them. But here's the thing. People aren't usually just born this way. A lot of the time, this self-reliance is actually a form of emotional armor that's been forged in the fire of past experiences. And that brings us right to our second point: past conditioning. This is where it gets super interesting. You can see how this process develops. A lot of times, it starts in childhood. Maybe birthdays were a bit inconsistent. Sometimes they were celebrated, sometimes they were forgotten. So the brain, which is always looking for patterns, learns a rule to protect itself. And over time, that rule just becomes an automatic protective instinct.
And this is the quiet little rule the brain comes up with. It's basically a preemptive strike against getting hurt. If you never get your hopes up in the first place, then there's no way they can get crushed. It becomes a really powerful self-preservation mantra.
So what might look like indifference to us on the outside is actually a really effective suit of emotional armor on the inside. It's not about rejecting other people, it's about protecting themselves. And this leads us to our third key idea. The silent birthday isn't just a passive thing that happens, it's an active strategy. It's a way, often totally subconscious, to manage emotional risk by keeping a tight grip on expectations. This comparison lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you have the birthday hype. That comes with really high expectations, which makes you feel vulnerable and opens you up to potential disappointment. But on the other side, you've got the just another day approach. Expectations are low, which allows you to regulate your emotions and, most importantly, stay in control. So the bottom line is this. The goal isn't to be a buzzkill. The real goal is to stay in control of your own inner world and protect yourself from the sting of unmet hopes. You could almost call it a tactical choice for emotional stability. So, when we put all these pieces together, it gives us a completely new way of looking at this. We can finally start to understand the deep psychological why that's driving the what we see on the surface. So just to wrap it all up, we've got three powerful forces at play here. First, a strong sense of self-worth that doesn't need outside validation. Second, a protective shield that was built from past experiences. And third, a really smart strategy to manage expectations and sidestep disappointment. And that leaves us with a final thought. Now that you have this insight, how might it change the way you see the next silent birthday you come across? Because what looks like simple silence on the surface might actually be a story of real strength, self-protection, and maybe even profound self-awareness.